Am I wrong about NIO? This is the perfect time to ask this question because the stock price has just been beaten down over the last few years. And in fact, it's lower now. And for a date and timestamp, it's March 22nd, 2024 in the morning as I record this. The stock price this morning was lower than it had ever been since I've been aware of the company and the stock. So, what a perfect time for this question. I'm so glad it was asked and I took the time to respond. Let's talk about it. At least you'll get a sense of where I'm coming from and how my view has been and remains. So here's the question. Aaron, you ever think you simply got NIO wrong? The majority of NIO investors are underwater. With so much overhead supply, it would be very difficult for the stock to appreciate. People just want their money back. NIO has been dead money for years. So many great American companies to invest in. Just some food for thought. 10 people clicked and agreed with that sort of thought. Well, here's my response. And I opened with being as transparent as I can. I said, thanks for asking this question. NIO being an IDE, that's an innovative driven enterprise, instead of an SME. And I've got a video and a link, and I will drop it here so you can check that out if you haven't seen it. This was a critical part of my selecting this company. I did a video to share this, and so then I shared the link for anybody who wanted to more quickly and easily see this comment and then just go to the link and watch the video. But as I said, I'll do that for you now. So my view for NIO was always focused on the company fundamentals and how valuable it could become long-term. However, timeframes are hard to predict for a startup or growth company, especially if it is an IDE, which means it can take a huge market share, but might need more time to develop into that, which is why I came up with the 3 initial major growth phases for NIO. Those are at the bottom of my screen in many of the videos. Market awareness, the brand needs to be known. Profitability, the company fundamentals need to scale and show it is not only disruptive and innovative, but can make a ton of money. And BaaS, battery as a service. NIO brand having 1 million vehicles on the road would give me time to figure out how profitable this part of the business appears to be once that number of cars would be on the road. So, as we continue, after the NIO premium brand has sold a cumulative 1 million cars, I will consider where their stock price is trading. And that will be the appropriate time for me to determine if I was right or wrong. You see, that's my lens, as I already had these things marked out. Now, let's pause for a second. I want to share this because if we go to the NIO website, after February, as of the end of February 2024, NIO had done cumulative deliveries of 467,781. Okay. So by my view, my perspective, my lens, we've still got a ways to go, almost, well, over 500,000 more NIO vehicles. Okay. But now back to the comments. Things have changed to further validate NIO as a true IDE since I came up with my first 3 growth phases. Some of those things have been NIO announcing 2 sub-brands, partnering with other Goliath companies in China to build out power swap stations and create other branded battery swap vehicles, a smartphone, a legitimate shot at being one of the earliest autonomous vehicle companies, and the NIO energy play with things like V2G, vehicle to grid. And I'll link that video at the end. Very few people have even seen that. There's also a teaser that I kind of buried in this video, and I'll talk about that. So stick around if you want to see that. The stock price is almost an entirely separate topic, in my opinion, especially as NIO provides a wonderful short-term thesis and likely has some of the biggest predatory shorts involved in keeping the stock price down. Profitability seems like, a key point for this to change. Only my opinion, and yes, I could be wrong. But until the first 3 major growth phases have happened with NIO and its main brand having 1 million cumulative vehicle sales, I can't say for sure whether I am right or wrong. Thanks for the question, and congrats to anyone who took the time to read this essay length response. And I did have 11 thumbs up or positives to that. So this was again perfect time for this question. I'm really glad it was asked. But now let me get over to the teaser. This is the description, and if you ever click down and look below, sometimes I'll put a little surprise down there, or I'll just kind of be wondering if anybody's paying attention. So down here, I put teaser links for those who took the time to look here. Now I'm going to go ahead and share those teaser links in case you missed them. This is the first now. This is coming from the NIO factory in Hungary. Shout out, Javi. Thank you for sharing this. And as you can see, NIO is in this energy space, although they remain sort of unrecognized in my view. This is the plant from Hungary where they're creating power swap stations and sending them out to Europe. this is still a very, very early stage in my mind. But again, that's just my view. So, what about this piece? This is related to the V2G, the vehicle to grid, and the video that I've shared a few times now. NIO has one on their YouTube channel that not many people have seen. They did a test run with a national park in China for doing V2G. But in China, since then, they have now opened the first highway integrated full to vehicle storage, charging, and swapping station. So this means this is a nod in my mind that NIO has they're satisfied with the testing and now they're rolling things out. This also coincides with the timing of NIO and their partnership with CYVN going into the United Arab Emirates and starting with their first power swap station. They announced they're doing that in the Middle East and the UAE this year. Again, this is the test phase, I think, in some respects on the energy side, but that business is completely unrecognized by almost everyone across the industry. And so, again, back to even the first things that I talked about before I realized that NIO was building into this much bigger potential global company than I had originally imagined. And that's largely due to the energy play that I think they'll have and with the power swap stations, what they're going to be able to do in markets in different countries that they'll be able to get into that I had no idea they'd be able to do back then. But that's also why I recognized as an IDE, I needed to have some things so that I wouldn't just be thinking only in terms of time frame, but rather having some clear fundamental things from the company. So if we look at the bottom of the screen and I have my sort of third major growth phase there, battery as a service with NIO and the main brand at 1 million sales, we're about 500,000, a little more than that away from that. So for me, I'm still giving this more time because even way back, several years ago, I had these things in mind and I recognized that for this company to do the kind of things that I want to see it do, I may need to give it more time, but I don't know what that means time frame wise specifically. So having these things to sort of help me mark off where we are in the journey of this enormous company in the making. I mean, regardless of the stock price action, we had a major announcement. Another company has announced to build 1,000 power swap stations with NIO. I just don't believe that these other massive companies are partnering with NIO because they don't think there's value in this energy space and play, but no one's really talking about it. Even the analysts on the call, I just don't know how much they recognize what a Goliath in the making this company is. But that's my view. Of course, I could be wrong. However, I will not consider that I'm wrong until we've seen 1 million NIO sales. At that point, I'll do sort of a reset, a review, a retake, and see what all has happened. And again, before that happens, we will see profitability for the company. So once that happens, where's the stock price even going to be at that point? These are all sort of questions in my mind, but I wanted to share a little bit more in depth because I really appreciate it. And at this time, that question of, am I wrong? And sort of my response, my thinking, again, this is just me. So drop it in the comments. I want to hear from other people. Thank you and have a great day.